Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Talk, a place where we bring real stories and real strategies from people who are making into top tech companies. Today, we have a very special guest from IIIT Allahabad who recently cracked the Uber Star program and got an internship in Uber. In this conversation, we'll talk about her strategies, her preparation tips, and the practical tips that can help students who all are aiming to crack such big companies. So, if you're aiming for Uber or such big companies, stay tuned. Hi, Tanya. Welcome to the podcast. Tanya, thanks a lot for coming to this and helping students out. Could you please help us with your introduction and your brief journey from IIIT Allahabad to Uber Star, cracking the Uber Star?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Shivam, first of all. And thank you so much for having me here. Hello, guys. So, myself, Tanya, and I'm currently in my third year, and I'm doing my electronics and communication engineering from IIIT Allahabad. All in my 2 years, on my 3 years of tech career, I have been jumping from mentorship programs to the different opportunities in tech to internships. I have been very active in this thing right from my first semester. Like in my first semester, first year, I was a finalist in Myntra Hackathon. Then eventually, I was a part of Google. I was a finalist in Google Girl Hackathon. Then in your Salesforce Hackathon, and after that, I also cracked the Desis Ascend Educare program. So this was all in second year, which eventually landed me an internship in Uber through Uber She Plus Plus. So that was an introduction about me. And the second part that you said, how I landed in Uberstar. Well, Ubership Plus Plus is basically, a very off-campus thing as compared to our college. It only goes to certain colleges on campus, so they get informed by their TPO. But for us, it was totally off campus. So we explored through its career portal. So when they have, like, you have to be a part of the different groups that communicate about the opportunities. So I was also part of many groups which were communicating about the opportunities. So I got to know about this opening, and then I applied for the She Plus Plus, and there were certain filtering criterias, resume selection, then the online assessment. Then I was a part of She Plus Plus, and then they had some criterias, and then I cleared them and got the internship. So it was mostly about awareness rather than and seniors guidance as well. But as far as my college is concerned, I was the first one to get to Uber in second year, so I did not really have a lot of seniors to communicate. But from other colleges I had, so I got a guidance. But yeah, you have to be aware to know about the opportunities.
A great job, Tanya. I can see a lot of hard work behind this, as in cracking multiple internships to basically going forward and cracking the things, being the first, being the only one in the college and without any senior guidance is the typical thing. Because generally, what happens is the students in the colleges which have like good communication and good things happening. So generally, the seniors let the people know and the things carry forward. But you are the initiator there, so great thing there. Tanya, just one thing you mentioned about some groups, right, which you were a part of, through which you got to know about these things. Would you mind mentioning a few of them so that the students can join those if possible?
Yeah, sure. There is for girls specifically, it's a coders.cafe. It's a community of women, and they post about all the opportunities that come particularly for women. And in general, I joined many channels on Telegram. I don't remember the names, but specifically of Kishan Kumar is there and Arsh Goyal. These people are very active in posting the opportunities that come for everyone, like not just the college
Okay.
students or the female students, but for everyone in general. So you have to keep an eye on that and don't mute the notifications, unmute them and keep an eye.
Okay. And just one more thing, Tanya. So, what is the timeline? As in, there must be a specific timeline, right? When these internship programs come out, when the companies post about them. So, generally, what is that
Hmm.
timeline which when it comes out, so that students can keep a note, especially during those times?
Yeah, there is like every program has its own timeline, as you said, of course. Like most of the programs come in, if you talk about internships, most of them come in the second part of your second year, that is in your fourth
Yeah.
semester. Like if you
Okay.
talk about the internships, you get your Google step is in your third semester. But you talk about Flipkart runway, the Cisco internship, or your Uber internship, everything comes during the March, April time. Like they float their forms in January or something, they conduct their interviews in March, April, and then they call in May for the internship. So if you
Okay.
just go to the site, or even if you just go to Unstop for their past conduct, like when they were conducted last time, you'll get the timelines. They keep changing as well, so you cannot be very
Okay.
rigid on this. But
So
mostly in the second part of second year, yeah.
okay, so in your two, you have applied for this, and then you went ahead, right? Second year, second semester, basically.
Yeah, everything was in second year itself.
Okay, okay. All the internships were in that time. Got it. Great. Fine. So I want to talk a little bit about so specifically we are talking about Uber C++ here. So can you tell us as in what about the resume screening process, the coding round, the interviews, what exactly happened and what landed you there, as in what was the process for Uber C++?
Sure. First, I'll tell you what is Uber C++.
Ah,
Yeah. So the first Uber C++ is actually basically an outreach program, right? So they do take people for internships, but not directly. Like they do not take everyone who apply for it, but they select 100 people out of everyone whom they give an opportunity for the interviews and for the internship, right? So on the first place, there is a resume screening. I'm not very sure if the resume screening is actually taken serious, but because everyone in my college got the online assessment link, so there
okay.
is no such very particular or rigid resume screening at my time. But this time, when I talked to my juniors, there was a resume screening round, so they keep changing the criteria every year.
Okay.
So, and very few people got the online assessment rounds, malab link.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's a little weird. So first is the resume screening round. Secondly, they give you an online assessment for the Uber C++. It's nothing. It's a 1 hour code online assessment on Code Signal where they give you three questions. Three questions are of different weightage, like based on the difficulty level. It's of total 600 marks. The first is 100 marks, second is 200, third is 300 marks. So everyone struggles with the third question. So that was the criteria for C++, and that was the only criteria for C++ to
Okay.
get selected in the top 100 lot. And then they invite you to Hyderabad. They, connect you with the leaders, and they tell you about how Uber works, their work life and everything. And they even conduct a hackathon over there where my team stood a second as a second runner-up. So yeah, all these things are, very motivating. Like, so you get serious about this internship and sort of.
Yeah,
So
correct.
if I talk about the online assessment in particular, I guess the questions, I would say they vary in difficulty. So yeah, like you have to be very much skilled with DSA and competitive programming. So that was about C++, if you talk about.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Anya, for this. So, majorly, if I talk about, you said there were three questions, right? So, all three were DSA questions, or there were some CS fundamental questions as well.
No, there was no CS fundamental questions. Like you do not expect it from a second year to, because if they allow all the branches and not
Mhm.
everyone is still up to
Makes
date with
sense.
computer networks, DBMS, OS
Correct,
and all.
correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't just allow CS students or IT students, they allow everyone, and everyone is eligible for this. It's not just, yeah, one more thing I missed out. It's not just for the female students. The male students were also involved over here. Like if the male students coming from EWS category, PWD category, and the other diverse communities, they were also allowed in this
Okay.
program. Yeah, the majority was female, but yeah, just don't mistake it for C++. But
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So, when you went to Hyderabad, were there boys as well?
Yeah, there were
Oh,
around,
great.
I guess there were 100 of them and 25 were guys, I guess.
Oh, nice, nice, great thing. Yeah, yeah. So everyone will confuse from the name that it's C++. So it's meant for hers only. So thanks a lot for clarifying this. That basically the category-wise distribution is there, and the boys can also apply if they fall into those. That's a great thing to know. Okay, got it. So we got it as in how the flow goes. Is basically majorly it's the OA. So if you crack that OA, then you are selected for this Uber C++ internship. You got a visit to Hyderabad and everything. Great fancy things happened, and now you will be interning with the Uber. So was that hack? So once you're part of Uber C++, you are into internship. Is it like that?
No, 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 no. They conduct interview rounds as well. That is the major
Okay.
part because yeah, like we went in March, like it was a 3 day event thing, and then we came back. And after a few days on, I guess before 9 days of the interview, they told us like we'll be appearing for the interviews.
Okay.
And basically here the interesting thing happened because suddenly they changed the pattern of interviews. Like for
Oh,
our seniors, it was only based on one round, and that was a hiring manager round. Right, there
Okay.
was no DSA, no coding, nothing. It was just hiring manager round, and they selected interns from there. And we were definitely practicing it that way. Like ever since I got into the Uber C++, I started my practice for the internship uh, regarding my projects and all. But just 9 days before, they told me that the whole pattern has changed. There will be two rounds of interviews,
Oh,
and the first round was a DSA round, and the second was a system design round.
okay.
So yeah. So like both were of 60 minutes each. Like, and the critical part they did was they kept both the rounds on the same day for everyone at the same time with just 1 or 2 hours gap. So it was really very intimidating for someone in second year appearing for the first time. But yeah, like of course, when you are in second year, you don't have much idea about system design, right? Like, you don't even know what is it. With DSA, I was not very confident, but I at least knew what is it about, and if I practice more, I can get through it. But for system design, I just had 9 days, and with whatever resources I had, I practiced them, and yeah, it was all. If I go more into like how the interview was done specifically, well, in the DSA round, they do not fire a lot of questions before you, and they keep this thing in mind that we're in second year, so don't even go to dynamic programming or something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
They keep it very basic, like not very basic, but the medium level of questions
We
that
say
you
up to
face on lead
trees.
code. Yeah, actually trees only, till trees,
Okay. Okay.
not
Till
even
trees.
graphs, till
Okay.
trees. Yeah, your hash maps, your trees, your linked list,
Okay.
sorting, all these things. Binary search. I guess binary search is the favorite topic.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah, these are the questions that you'll be asked from. And for me, the question was from heaps and sliding window technique. I don't
Okay.
remember the question exactly, but it was a combination of both. And the interviews are actually very helping. It's not like if you get stuck and they'll just come to judge you or something. They were actually helping, and he was really good, the one who took my interview, and I could actually solve it very quickly after giving him the approach. You have to prove like what are the edge cases you have to keep in mind, and you have to solve them. You have to give them the approach, and after they're satisfied, they'll ask you to code, and then you have to run the whole code. And if it passes all the test cases, you're good to go. And I actually had a lot of time after the first question, so I was asked a second question on binary search as well, and it didn't ask me to code it, but just just give the approach and sort of, and then we discussed a little about my resume, and I guess my DSA round was really good.
Great.
Like I did not have any complaints for that.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, like, and then we had 2 hours gap, and then we had the system design round. So here, obviously, like, for I'll talk about my preparation in the later part, but in the
Sure.
regarding the question, like they ask you the very basic LLD questions. Like
Okay.
at first, you may think like system design is something very difficult, but it's just normal coding. At that time, I thought like I have to do something very extraordinary over there just to show that I'm very skillful, because I was not very sure if I'll be able to code that long thing. But eventually she just asked me to, whatever, just code it. She asked me
Okay.
about the approach, my thinking, and she kept on changing the situations. Like she kept on changing the criterias, and according to which the time complexity changes, the edge cases change. So you have to answer it. That was spontaneous, more of a discussion than an interview, I would say. So she was discussing it very, she was helping me out as well. And I was not even able to complete the whole code. Like it was a very long code I was
Remember
writing
the
in Java.
LLD
So
question?
she, yeah,
So you remember the LLD question?
yeah, it was end meeting rooms, either
Okay.
end meeting rooms or end meeting scheduler.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, yeah, and it's a very basic question. Like if you take any sheet for practice for LD questions, this question is always there,
Correct.
right? These are some of the basic questions like the parking system, the elevator system.
Yeah.
All these things are there, right? So they pick out a very easy one only, not something very difficult. So it was, I already practiced that question. Like I did not memorize the whole code, but yeah, during the preparation, I already did it. So I had hands-on experience with that. So yeah, she asked me those questions, and I was not even able to complete the code. She gave me 10 more minutes for that. And then yeah, like I didn't even get time to run the code and check like if it was right or not. But she gave me the assurance, like it's okay, you have written a very modular code, because all they care for is like your code should be very modular and very, self-defining. The variables that you use, the clean code that you write, they're more concerned of that than the very perfect code. Like of course you don't expect much out of a second year student. So yeah, they
Makes
keep these
sense.
things in mind. Yeah. So they keep these things in mind, and yeah, like it was all good. I made it through. So I hope my code was right only. That's why I made through it.
Yeah, exactly, Kanya. Great work. As in, you cracked the basically the DSA rounds. You cracked first question. The second was given as a bonus to you, and then in the 9 days, basically from not knowing what exactly comes in the system design to basically preparing for it is a great stuff. Although you are saying that it's easy one, but yeah, I know as in how much it take to get that understanding and everything. So great job in that. As in, it's appreciable. And you are correct. As in, being 5 year into tech industry, the main thing which matters in the system design is this modularity. How much clarity do you have? So in system design, basically that's what is looked at. That how the candidate is thinking. The focus is not more on that you should write the exact code, but how your thinking is going on and how you are evolving as per the updates in the requirement which are happening. So great work there. So, proceeding on this only, Tanya, as you are great in DSA and you learned the system design as well. So, in brief, can you tell the major resources which were useful for you? Because whoever is in their first and second year, they are doing DSA. Nowadays, people know that yes, DSA is very important, but basically they are flooded with the resources. So, if they will have a limited resources, it will be great to go ahead with. So, can you name those whichever you used?
Yeah. Like, see, the thing that I did was I started coding very early, like even before joining my college. So even before, no, I didn't like very much hard coded things or not. Like I have my elder sister, so she guided me all through this. So I was very previously introduced to Striver's A to Z sheet. So
Great.
I started the easy problems right from home before joining college. So, like something very basic. So one because once you join college, you are not very much able to, escape out time after classes. You get tired, and you do not have such a plan. Like you just come out of JE, and then you don't want to do anything,
New
right?
friends, that freedom I can understand, yeah, because coming out of JE and having that thing is a separate thing. But guys, don't be scared, as in she started before college, but even if you'll start after
Yeah.
college, that is completely fine, I believe.
Yeah, like it's not been necessary because I stopped for a lot of time after starting from home. After coming to college, I did not do anything. So yeah, so
Okay,
in my first year, like I explored a lot of platforms, I would say. When I was flooded with resources, you have to make sure which one is right. So Striver was done very holistically right from the beginning. But apart from that, I was into many coding platforms like your Lead Code. I still do Lead Code, so yeah, that's okay. But then CodeChef, Forces, SPOJ, Geeks for Geeks, and almost I guess any random problem I see. And there was some sheet I don't remember, but it has CSES questions. Like there were a lot of things that I saw because it's very overwhelming. Like you are able to solve the questions, but you are not realizing you are doing the repetitively the same questions in every sheet because the question because anyways you'll not be able to crack the tougher ones. You have to give time, right? So that's I won't call it a mistake because I was still in my first year and had an ample amount of time. So I was just exploring through it. But in my second year, I very much stuck with Striver's sheet only, completing it from actually A to Z, like till dynamic programming. You are not asked dynamic programming in second year, but it's good if you know it prepares you for the third year internships as well. So for me, for DSA, I would say if you want, you should also have an hands-on experience in competitive programming, which you'll get through CodeChef contests. So I boundarized myself with lead code contest, and CodeChef contest, and Striver's sheet. That's all I would say I've done for any internship or anything. Like because in all the internships, on all the interview rounds, you'll be asked questions from DSA only, which will be taken from lead code. Some way or the other, it might have been modified, but yeah, the questions are more or less from the same source.
They are from lead code. Just one more thing I also want to add. Thanks a lot for adding the things. But yeah, that's what I believe. DSC is all about patterns, as in it does not matter if you solve 1,000 or 2,000 problem. It does not matter at all. And Striver sheet, I also personally believe it's very good because it is covering all the patterns. So yeah, if you cover maybe up to trees till your second year or a graph little bit, you're very well good to go for these rounds. So makes sense as in that confining those, that's what you got to know in your second year as well, is a great thing. So yeah, whoever is watching, maybe that confining yourself to Striver A to Z sheet is also fine, and then once you're done with that, you can go with the lead code contest and all, like Tanya is saying. True.
Yeah.
And
And
what
one
about
thing is
system
that
design? Yeah, sure.
yeah, like one thing I like to add is that when I started with SPOJ, I saw as I told, I was a part of Desis Ascend Educare program also. The question that I was asked in that interview was exactly taken from SPOJ, which I had solved before. So doing multiple sources also gives you a lot of edge somewhere or the other, but that's obviously luck. That's totally luck. So you cannot be doing all the resources because your luck will work someday. Confine yourself and work. So yeah, talking about system design,
Mhm.
it's the work that I did that time was very disoriented, because now I'm doing system design from from the very basic, because I have time and I don't have to go for any interview. So but at that time I just had 9 days, so I did a very disoriented way. I took one sheet and just started solving problems without learning anything from the basic. Like, I did not watch each of the video because I did not have the time for it. It was, I guess, Code with Aryan. Yeah.
Okay.
That sheet exists somewhere. It
Okay.
was Code with Aryan, and that guy had given, solved all the questions in different videos, like the same questions of N meeting scheduler, parking lot, elevator system. And I also watched videos of how system design interviews are being given, like two people, like they sit together, interviewer and the interviewee, and how are they explaining things. So I was majorly focusing on that, like what am I even supposed to say over there? Like, how are you supposed to, like first you have to write the classes, then you have to mention the functions, then you have to write the code more in a modular way.
Mhm.
So that's what I was noticing mostly, rather than knowing, because once you crack the logic, you'll anyways be able to write the code. But it's about the modularity. So in the 9 days, all I could do is this. But if you're
Got it.
actually preparing diligently, then you should go for better resources.
Yeah, got it. Thanks, Tanya. Correct. Makes sense. One thing which, okay, I can see that you prepared a lot, but can you tell us about the toughest moment out of your interview thing which was going on, as in of the selection process of Uber C++?
I would say the toughest part, like you're talking about just the Uber C++ or throughout this 2 years or whatever it is.
Maybe we can say, let's focus on Uber C++.
Yeah. Sure. Like as I told you, there was a sudden change of pattern in the interview. So that was, I guess, a very drastic thing, because I started practicing the MERN stack, my project, explaining, learning everything line by line since a very long time. And I just felt like everything was wasted, my time was wasted. And like, why was I even preparing for it? And all I have is just 9 days to prepare for
Mm.
both, and both have to be on the same level. Like, unless you are facing the interview, you think everything is going to be tough, right?
Yeah,
So I guess that was like, I remember my midterm exams were also going on, so it was very difficult to manage time between both. And as soon as the midterm exams got over, everyone was going out, I was sitting in my lab and doing the questions, solving the system design rounds. I had one of my seniors who was very helpful. So he and me, we started, learning system design together, and we were explaining each other. The best thing when you have a short period of time and you want to cover a lot is by making a partner with
true.
whom you can study, right? So you cover most of the things by, discussing things out. So that's what I did majorly. And I guess that was very tough. Yeah.
It was a
But like after the,
yeah, major hurdle I can say, and you cracked it in a very good, very calm way. That is perfect thing to work with.
yeah.
Yeah, you were saying something. I cut you in mid.
No, 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 that's what I was saying. Like, you have to be very consistent. Like, you'll feel like this is not going to work and that is not going to work, but still, like, the process, just get the sources and get it done. There is no best source out there, right? When you have a short period of time, every source is best. You just need to, do it diligently. That's
Correct.
what I learned.
Yeah, great, great sharing, Tanya. Okay. At the end, I just want to ask you one thing. Let's say if a first or second year student is watching us, then and they're aiming for these kinds of internship, then what roadmap do you suggest them? First is this, and second is, can you talk a little bit more about the other programs as well, which are there other than Uber C++ for them, so that they can actively look upon them and they can actively apply on them.
Yeah, right. Well, basically, when you're in your first or second year, you should not be targeting a particular company or a particular internship or a particular thing. You should be practicing in general. Like, it's always good to keep a target. Like, for me, Uber was never a target. I didn't even know what Uber is, like if they have a program like this or not, because it comes towards the very end of second year. So, of course, I was preparing before that. So, my target actually was the Google Step internship,
Okay.
which comes in the third semester. Right. So I was very much mentally prepared that I'm going to Google. I don't know what. So I started my preparations right from the first year and in that direction only. They also asked the DSA questions as well. There is no system design, of course, but they need DSA at a very nice level. So that was my target and that's how I was preparing. But at the end, what happened? Like I cleared the first round of interview, but in the second round, I messed up and I could not make it through. But again, everything is a learning, right? So if I
Correct.
talk about all the programs, like in the first year, my first ever interview was the Google V program. Like it was only for the first year people, and you'll be a part of mentorship kind of program by Google. So there as well, there were 4 to 5 rounds. I made it till the last, but in the last I did not get selected. So I was very, very disheartened after that. But that was okay. It was a mentorship program. But again, in second year, you'll have your comeback. So a major program that comes in your second year will be your DESH or Desis Ascend Educare program.
Okay.
Like it's basically a 6 months program that comes during your October, no, that comes during your August, September sort of.
Okay.
So earlier it used to be like at our time it was 6 months and 6 months mentorship, but now they have reduced it to 3 months. So it's a very good thing to have on your resume. Like I guess most of my resume got selected everywhere because I had D show on my resume.
Oh,
I
okay.
think like that, right?
Actually,
Because I saw
internship and
many
these names, these big names, make great as in work for your resume to get selected. They do. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I also had the Myntra hackathon thing. So I guess these were the only two things that I was pitching everywhere with, and it did get work out. So these are the two things that you should be focusing in your second year. Then comes your uh Google Step internship. I guess it's obviously Google, right? So that's of course very important, and you should be targeting that because Google takes a lot of people. Like in Uber, yeah, I forgot to mention the numbers. Total interns in second year were 35. Like out of 135 people got selected. So I
Oh,
guess the numbers are really well. Like
true.
if you talk about out of 135 are being selected. So all you need to do is just give your best because they want to take you. Even if the number goes to 40 or 45, they will take it because they don't have a particular head count. They just want good people.
Okay.
Okay, because you are the ones they'll be converting as well next year.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So yeah, so Google Step comes, and then your after that your Flipkart runway comes. That also comes around March. Like I remember, yeah, you talked about the toughest part. The toughest part was that my Flipkart interviews and my Uber interviews were going in the same week.
Oh,
So almost I had interviewed continuously for 3 days. Like I had my Flipkart round one. Next day I have my 2 rounds of Uber interviews, and the next day I had Flipkart second round of interview. So it
great.
was all so it was very
Still, you made
what you
great
can
thing,
say.
and I'm really impressed by that thing that you got to know before 9 days before only, and you cracked the basically the system design thing in a good way. So really impressive, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say after 1 week I had my Salesforce interview as well. So yeah, that was also cracked.
Okay,
So yeah,
great.
but that's a third year thing, so that's not a second year internship. That was basically a third year internship. So yeah, like that was that period of time as well. So you should be focusing like there is a Cisco interview as well, Cisco internship.
Okay.
I could not clear the online assessment as well of that, so okay. And you have LinkedIn coaching also. So that also online assessment was not cleared. But yeah, these are the programs you should
These
be
are the
focusing in
programs
your
which
second
comes.
year
Okay,
because cracking something in your yeah, because cracking something in a second year is obviously easier than doing it in your third or fourth year
makes sense.
because the number of people increase, the
Correct.
competition increases.
Yeah, yeah, very good point. So I believe it's
Yeah.
good to prepare in first and second year because at that point of time, many students they are just starting up, right? So they start focusing on the things after second year or during the second year. So if you get that edge, that is very good because the things gets a little easier. The competition gets a little less, right? As compared to the third year because at that time everyone has started getting serious. So a great point, I'll say. So it's better to get started early so that you can go for these programs. And I can see there are multiple ample of programs. So each company, each big tech is coming up with some way or other to get the second year students. Correct. Great thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are certain hackathons from Goldman Sachs as well. So I was not even aware of it. But yeah, that
Okay.
also comes, so you should try. And the best thing about being in second year is that they do not have a very strict resume selection criteria, which happens in your third and fourth year because of the competition and the number of options you have. There is no CG criteria in Uber as well, or in Google, or anywhere, I would say. Not D-Shaw. No one puts a CG criteria with second year students. But in general, if you see, D-Shaw does not take anyone below 9 or 9.5 and certain things, right? So you have a very big edge if you start preparing early and get into any of these firms right from the first place.
Yeah, great thing, great thing. Great discussion, Tanya. Thanks a lot. I believe multiple insights were there, but the best one is to start early and being focused on the resources for DSN. Afterwards, go for multiple resources and be calm and be patient, even if some new things come up like the system design thing for you. But better to give your 100%. That's what you can do. You have nothing else to do, right? Yeah, and wish you the
Yeah.
best. And yeah, I hope you get selected for the full time as well after your internship.